Hello and welcome. You're listening to the CNET UK podcast. This is episode 367 for the 6th of December 2013. Our gimmicks, the future of phones. In a world where there's a smartphone for everyone, we check out a fistful of new phones trying to stand out by doing things differently. Plus the HTC One Mini is banned, 3 is surfing USA, and Amazon takes to the skies. Speaking of drones, I'm Richard Trenholm, and joining me in our London studio this week are Andy Hoyle.
Yo.
Hello.
Yo. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Who's Howard?
Howard, you.
Howard, I'm very, very well, thank you very much. And also with me, Luke Westaway.
Hi.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Good.
I'm trying to think of a funny name to call you that was like Howard, but not Howard. Glenn. That's a bit like Howard. Hi, Glenn. In my mind, they're sort of similar. They're just kind of similar, you know?
Good. I think it's going to be one of those podcasts, isn't it? Right. We are, as always, filming the podcast, so check out the video on CNET or youtube.com/CNET. But for now, let's dive straight in with Crave.
Three is getting all cool and friendly with its roaming charges. Cool and friendly. Cool and friendly.
Cool and
both
friendly
those
3.
things. That's what it's doing. It's it's scrapped all of its roaming charges in the US, which means now you can take your 3 phone from London, here, say, in the CNET UK podcast studio, take it all the way over to America, say Las Vegas for CES in January, Luke, and it won't cost you a penny more to send texts or use your data any of that. That's great news,
That
right?
is fantastic.
Fantastic news, especially, as you mentioned, for me. Hooray.
Relevant to your interest.
Yeah, so if you're on 3, maybe now is the time to check out Disneyland, Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're not on 3,
Florida,
maybe now's the time to think about 3.
If you're going
really.
to Florida and you're on O2, maybe it's time to take
Go
that
back
3
home.
phone with you.
Yeah.
Or cancel your holiday. It's
Cancel your
ruined.
holiday.
It's all ruined.
Tell the kids sorry, but Mickey's sick.
Mickey died.
Mickey died, so we can't
sorry,
go.
kids, Mickey's dead. No, this is great news. I mean, 3 are really
died
looking
in his
quite
sleep.
compelling at the moment, aren't they?
That's
Because they... Anyway, 3 is looking quite compelling at the moment. They've got the 4G coming up. It's taken quite a long time to roll out, but it is coming up, and they're not going to charge any more for it. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Good work, 3.
Well, 3 is starting its rollout of 4G right now in London, and it's only with a few people.
2,000, I believe.
Yeah, which is obviously very, very small.
I think some people in
subset of
Manchester and
customers.
Birmingham as well, a very small number, I believe.
Okay, so it's outside of... so it's the main UK cities.
Yeah.
And it's hoping to do a sort of a big rollout very end of this year and early next.
Big old rollout.
Yeah.
We've seen loads of people on Twitter angry at 3. Not about roaming, because that's definitely good news.
That's great, yeah.
But angry about 3's 4G plans. Because 3 said we're going to be rolling out 4G in December. Of course, what it meant was we will be starting to have it pop up in here and there for
Trials.
a few people.
Yeah.
Trials in December. But unfortunately, the message appears to have got mixed up. And understandably, 3 customers are like, where's this December? Where's the 4G? Why is my phone still slow as a slug?
Yeah. So the 3 UK Twitter account is basically just them replying to people complaining about 4G.
Yeah.
So there you go. But anyway, I mean, yes, the roaming thing is good news, and also there's more roaming news, isn't there? Hopefully
There is
other
more
networks
roaming
will follow
news,
suit.
yeah. So all the networks have been talking to the government. Ours, that is, our government.
The government.
Yeah, in order to sort out all the big sort of bill shock problems with roaming and trying to just sort it out, this big old casserole of nonsense. So BT, Sky, TalkTalk, EE, 3, Virgin Media and Vodafone, they've all signed this agreement to try and ditch roaming charges by 2016. Obviously not on that list is O2.
Yeah.
What?
So, yeah, it says that it basically it thinks that there's some ambiguity in the document, and until it's much more final about what it is they're agreeing to, they don't want to sign, which is fair enough. They're not against the idea. They just want to make sure they're signing the right
Well, no,
things.
I mean, obviously they are against the idea. It's just a delaying tactic, so they don't have to sign a thing that
Absolutely,
makes them
yeah,
stop
yeah.
charging extortionate prices when you roam.
Well, the thing is, I mean, it's not just roaming. I think O2's particular objection is about, I think it's more to do with mid-term price increases, because this is quite a wide-reaching document that the government has come up with. So it's an agreement to do things like cracking down on price hikes in the middle of your contract, and make it easy to get out of your contract and that kind of thing. So just all the kind of like the shenanigans that mobile networks have been getting away with and charging you extra for stuff for quite a while. The government's kind of finally saying, actually, you're not really keen on you guys doing that anymore.
Came and took my roaming. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
the
so
government came and gave you roaming.
Gave me roaming.
Yeah.
So it'll be good to see roaming being sorted out by 2016. But 3 is obviously leading the way. So well done 3. So that's not just the US. So the US is new, but it's already been free in.
They've got Australia. They've got Brazil, I think. They've got Russia.
Italy.
They've got Italy. I was in Italy and it was brilliant. I went all around Tuscany and it was lovely. I drank a lot of wine and I could tweet all about it because I had free roaming.
You can imagine what a relief that was to us back home.
Yeah,
that Andy could still tweet about.
I could show you all these photos.
Yeah,
it was great. So yeah, that's good news.
Absolutely.
What isn't good news for HTC?
It's a roller coaster of
Moving on.
emotion. Roller coaster of emotion. This podcast so far.
We're up, we're down.
Highs and the lows. I can't take it anymore.
HTC's having some legal battles with Nokia, which we've reported on quite a bit before. But what's happened now is that the One Mini and Max have been banned in the UK from 6th of December,
right.
Which is a really big deal.
So why have the Mini and the Max been banned, but not the One? Do we know, or is it?
Yes. So basically, the Independent reported that the judge ruled in Nokia's favour, and the ban actually refers to the Desire X, the One XL, the One X, the One S, and the One V. Not the One because, and I quote, the potential harm of banning the handset to HTC outweighs that to Nokia. It's basically that would just destroy the company. If it banned that as well, is effectively what he's saying. So it's kind of like this needs to be sorted out, but without completely kicking HTC in the
other thing is as well that HTC has been given leave to appeal against this. So the ban doesn't actually kick in until Friday, I believe, which is maybe possibly when you're listening to this.
Yes.
Or maybe after you've listened to this, or possibly even before you've listened to this if you're listening to it later in the week.
It's crazy though, isn't it? This feels like it could be a situation where finally all this patent battle actually has a proper consumer result.
Well, what's probably going to happen is HTC is going to settle. That's the thing. It doesn't usually come to a ban. Usually, because I mean, they won't be able to. How can they stop selling phones? They're going to have to settle. So
they'd have to send big Nokia vans around to all the car phone warehouses and collect all the HTC phones big nets.
HTC's argument on this, because the patent in question relates to the transmitter technology inside HTC's phones.
Yep. It's always something boring, isn't it?
It is
some minor little thing.
Yeah.
Now Nokia, I think, rightly claims that this is their patent, but HTC is claiming that what it is actually part of Qualcomm's chip and is covered by Qualcomm's use of that technology, and that HTC doesn't need to pay extra to Nokia for this. And obviously the judge is arguing that that isn't the case and they need to sort it out.
Right.
What else has the judge let slip?
So the judge has actually let slip that the HTC One 2, the
HTC One 2.
Yeah, the follow-up to the HTC One.
The radio mic edition.
One, two.
1, 2.
Will be coming end of February, March time. So, which we're talking MWC, Mobile Congress in Barcelona. That's when that happens. So
makes perfect sense.
It's a year after the original one.
Exactly. So we'll have the new one. The new one.
That's cool. That the judge is actually leaking stuff as well. Leaks come from all over. Who knows where the next leak's going to come from?
Good job,
from
Judge.
You, Luke.
It could do.
Oh no, I'm accidentally wearing my T-shirt that has all of the names.
So you were worried about leaks before the podcast, so that's actually I'll move on just in case. Anyway, so the PlayStation 4, good news this time. The roller coaster is back up. It's like the Big Dipper at the top, looking out over Blackpool.
Yeah,
just
and I'm
waiting.
about to plummet down closer to Blackpool.
Oh no!
That's your.
Oh dear.
The Blackpool floor.
So the PS4 has apparently, according to Sony, hit 2.1 million sales. That's sales, not shipped units.
Oh, okay.
Which is impressive.
Yeah.
And globally across all of the world.
And it hits 250,000 sales within the first weekend of it being on sale.
Although that second lump of figures is unofficial.
Yes,
that's
it is
like
unofficial.
Estimates in the UK. So 250,000 PS4s in its first weekend, and the Xbox One estimated to have sold. That's a world's worst drum roll there. 150,000, which is less.
So a clear lead for Sony in the PS4.
Yeah, so PS4 out the gate. It looks like. Well done. I mean, Microsoft hasn't come out and said how many Xbox Ones it sold, but if it had sold more than 2.1 million, I think they would have. Because why wouldn't you? So it looks like it's going Sony's way to start with.
Yeah.
I think we need a little graphic of, those horse race arcade games where you put 10p in and you bet
the
on
little
the colour.
tin horse
and
goes
the tin
along.
horse goes along.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to just Photoshop logos over their heads. Mark, can you do this and put this on the podcast before it goes live? That'd be brilliant.
Excellent, good. Insert a graphic here.
Yeah.
We should mention as well, actually, that about a week or two
I
ago.
think Mark's making a face that says he knows where you can insert your graphic.
So I should mention that a week or two ago we talked about the PS4 and the Xbox One, and we had Jason on the podcast, and he said that he felt that the PS4 may have won the console war, and that was pretty unpopular with some of the commenters. We should probably modify that slightly and say at this stage, PS4 appears to have won the console battle.
The opening salvo.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, we'll
The
see.
beach landing.
In terms of sales, anyway,
Or
which
something.
is the better console is still open to question. We'll see. But,
I don't think we need to answer that question. There doesn't need to be an answer. Let them both be great. Buy them both. Don't argue which you want.
Get him out of here.
Get them both.
Get him out. Get him out.
kill him.
Get him out of here.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to
It's
move
gone
on
completely off
to
message.
a bit of a WTF news. A bit of
WTF.
unusual goings on in the old globe.
Sideways.
I touched the mic.
You did touch the mic.
in my hand motion.
So
of
if you were
making
listening,
a
that just
globe.
sounded like what's going on in the old.
Yeah. Well, that made even more sense.
What is going on?
What
in
is
the
going
old-
on? So Amazon
I just did it as well.
is
Sorry.
Wait, I want to go. Poof.
Sorry, listeners.
Good.
Anyway.
Okay.
I'm just going to rattle the gables. We'll see what that does. Put on our own sound
What's
effect.
Amazon doing?
So Amazon has kind of announced its plans to have drones deliver your package. Unmanned drones zipping around the country delivering your packages.
This is total nonsense, but it's fun.
It's
anyway.
complete nonsense, and it's
Total
almost
nonsense.
certainly not going to happen because it seems a bit more like a funny PR thing. That,
Well, talk us through it. What does it actually involve? What?
So the idea is that it will be able to carry, these drones will be able to carry like low weight objects. So we're talking, I don't know, maybe DVDs, a pair of glasses.
Humans.
Probably
Pets?
not humans. For 30-minute journeys. So we're talking, in the city. So you'd have a station in London, and they'd be able to go out and do their stuff.
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos said we can carry objects we think up to £5. That's 2.3 kilograms, which covers 86% of the items we deliver. So it won't work for everything. We're not going to deliver kayaks or table saws this way.
Well, why don't they just get 4 drones to lift them together?
Well, the thing is, if you're delivering a kayak, you just get in the kayak and paddle it to the
I
person's
want the
house.
drone to get in the kayak. I want a robot to paddle it up to my door.
Do you know what I want to know? If what happens if you buy a drone on Amazon? Does it deliver itself?
Oh no!
Or does another
Used.
drone carry it?
Yeah, it'll just fly up and just be like through. It'll just fly straight through your post. What are they called? Post flap, post hole.
Smash through your living room
gap.
window whilst
So
you're
this-
watching Downton Abbey.
Yeah.
Some lovely talk about who's living in what house, and then
Yeah, and then
smash.
whoosh,
your
I'm
order
your
has
new
been
drone.
delivered.
You're there watching Downton Abbey. Anyway, so this is total nonsense. It's not even if it could possibly happen. It's not
How
going to happen
would it
until
work?
2018.
If it's going to work at all, it'll work in like 2 streets in San Francisco, which is where all these things actually work, because that's where all of the technology world comes from.
Exactly. Yeah. I think sometimes there's a sort of a bubble forms around some of these companies, and they kind of assume that everybody has amazing broadband and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because in San Francisco, a few thousand people do, and they see people walking around wearing Google Glass all the time, and think that it's a perfectly natural thing to do. But they live in this little bubble. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Well,
I mean, the other thing about this is that it's a great PR stunt. It's been picked up all over the place, but it kind of deflected a lot of attention away from Amazon this week because they've had a couple of different negative stories about them. For example, they had someone who was worked undercover in an Amazon warehouse and discovered that it's a pretty horrible job.
Yeah, it's like off sick 3 times in a month and you're sacked. Or stuff like that.
And you're basically
not
walking,
great working conditions.
So you have to walk. You're basically walking for hours and hours and hours. You're on your feet all the time with no breaks, which is I don't know.
Which is why they're
it's
replacing
work,
them
yeah.
with robots.
Yeah, exactly. One interesting thing about Amazon actually, and the sort of the delivery aspect of it in the warehouses, they don't have set places for where they put stuff. So they don't
heard
have.
that.
Yeah, it's really interesting. They don't have like a sort of a TV aisle. So if you buy a TV, then someone has to go to the TV aisle and get the TV and carry it back to the thing. What they do is they have this thing called I think it's called chaos packaging or something. It's basically what it is everything is individually tagged and just put on a shelf. And when the pickers are collecting orders, what they do is they get their handheld thing and they're given a little route that they have to follow, like the most efficient route to pick up these different things. And they just walk around grabbing stuff off the shelf. And it's all about the number matching the number of the object with the number of the actual thing itself, rather than going to the the DVD section and getting the DVDs. And it means that it's a much more efficient use of the space because you don't have like empty space. It's a really interesting thing.
It is amazing what on a logistical scale scale, if not on a sort of human,
moral, ethical,
human treatment scale. What Amazon
basic
does.
human decency.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe these drones were timed to cover up maybe what they suspected was going to be a bad news week for them.
Absolutely.
But, you don't know, because a lot of this stuff is from the UK, isn't it? There was a UK MP said don't buy gifts from Amazon because it's tax dodging reputation.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't buy anything from anybody then, would you? If you didn't buy anything from people who avoided tax. But there you go. Anyway, so tell us what you think about Amazon and their drones. And there you go. Where the best places to buy Christmas presents when you're buying your technology kit. Where are you buying your stuff from? And just generally keep us posted. Really.
Maybe I should stop droning on with the news.
I think maybe.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's it. Well, drones obviously they're things of the future. Let's go and look at some more things from the future. So we're well and truly in the mobile age with smartphones in every pocket and tablets on every coffee table, pretty much. I don't know.
At last.
You can buy a smartphone to suit every pocket in terms of size and price. So how does any phone stand out? That's the question. Judging by 3 new phones we've seen in the last week or so, you need a gimmick. So we say hello to Yola, Yotta and Oppo. What brilliant names. When you put them next to each other like that.
Sounds like a new type of hippo.
When you put them next to each other like that, that's quite funny.
The Yola Yota Oppo.
Yola, Yotta and Oppo, they're a new Finnish boy band. Yeah. So anyway, let's talk about what they actually are first. So let's talk about the Yolo or Jolla. Who knows?
Yeah, Yola phone is what those guys said to me. Yeah, it's cool. So, I mean, they're all.
This
all,
is
all
Migo,
these
isn't
phones,
it? Is this Migo?
It's Sailfish. It's an offshoot of Migo. It's kind of what Migo kind of has become. The people who were working on Migo, it's now called Sailfish. So it's an entirely new operating system. So it's very different from Android or iOS or Windows Phone or anything else you've probably seen before, unless you spent much time with Migo.
Sure.
Which you probably haven't.
It was on like one phone, wasn't it? The Nokia,
Yeah,
but it never came
it was
out.
the operating system that Nokia was kind of working on, sort of backing, and then it abandoned it in favour of Windows Phone,
Sure.
and there was only one phone, and it was the N9,
yeah.
and the Nokia N9.
And that was physically a Lumia that just had the
It was a Lumia
software.
800.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It was a gorgeous phone and actually quite fun to use. So we were a bit sad when we got it, and we were like, "Don't buy this; it's doomed."
So what's happened is that some guys from Nokia sort of spun off, didn't they?
That's exactly what happened. And so Yola, the phone itself looks quite cool. It looks like sort of 2 phones squashed together. It's got this normal black front, but then this split and this coloured back panel. Now these back panels you can change, and they're all different colours, and they have NFC chips inside them. So when you put them on the phone, it automatically changes like themes and certain settings on the phone. So it's like really easily customizable.
That's cool.
And although it's got new software, it will actually be able to use a lot of Android apps. So the problem with Windows Phone still is that it doesn't have the same amount of apps that you'll get on Android and iOS, and that's why it's still struggling.
There's an app gap.
Straight off the bat, you can use WhatsApp, Twitter, Facebook, Chrome.
Cool.
That's a big
loads
head
of
start
things,
then. That's
like
a big,
loads and loads and loads. They couldn't give me an exact number, but there was all like the essential Spotify,
Sure.
Skype. They were all on there.
Okay. And what about the phone itself? Is it a good phone? Is it? Did you like it?
The phone itself is okay. Like it doesn't have amazing specs. It doesn't have an amazing screen, and there were a few sort of issues I found. I only spent about 3 hours with it, but it was kind of fine. It's definitely interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing a bit more of it, seeing what they do, and actually getting hold of one properly.
Can you buy it, or will we be able to buy it?
They did like a soft launch in Finland last week, where I think they had 400 on sale for early pre-order customers.
Sure.
But a general rollout hasn't yet been announced.
Okay.
And that's kind of the same with the Yota phone, which is the next one we're talking about, which that went on sale this morning.
What's the Yota phone superpower?
Yota phone's superpower is that it has 2 screens. It
What?
has the normal front LCD display that you see on any other Android phone. This one's an Android phone.
Sure.
But on the back is an e-ink screen. That's the same screen that you'll see on like the Amazon Kindle, which is really interesting.
And why would I want that? Why would that be useful?
Well, the reason is that you can put long articles from web pages or some ebooks or like your notifications can be displayed on that, so it's always on, but it's not draining the same power. If you had your LCD screen on for hours at a time reading an ebook, your battery would just drain away because it takes so much battery to run a screen.
And that's because e-ink screens only really use power when they're changing their display, right? So it can be like burn in a page of a book and then it's just off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Your
for
phone's
like a
doing
month.
And it's black and white. It's not kind of it's not colourful thing.
Black and white, yeah. I mean, excuse me. Had quite a few problems I found because I spent the last couple of days using it. The actual quality of that e-ink display is quite poor, and it has no navigation buttons on the front of the phone to get around Android. You have to use these gestures. I didn't really like those too much. But it was only a prototype,
it's quite a cool idea. One of the things I liked about this from briefly looking at it was the fact that it's not the e-ink screen isn't just for reading and stuff. They've put some thought into things, some sort of fun stuff that you can do with it. Like you can take a photo and then put the photo on the front of the phone.
You can, yeah.
It's really cool.
There's loads of sort of personalising things and wallpapers and widgets, so you can see what notifications are coming through your emails, text calls. You can see a clock and weather stuff on there. So you can kind of dock it on your desk and always see your notifications by just looking over.
But is there anything that you can do that's not made by Yota?
No, everything is linked to Yota's selection of little services and tools at the moment.
So third-party app support.
Third-party is basically non-existent, so you can't put Google Maps on the back. There is a limited map service that Yota has. You can't use like the Kindle ebook store or Kobo. There is a service called Bookmate, but it's very there's nothing good that I've really found in there. So if you're that interested in reading enough to buy a phone with a dedicated e-ink screen, that store isn't going to suit you.
Okay, fair enough. Does it do EPUB? Does it do the sort of standards?
I couldn't find any way of doing it. I did download a couple of ebook titles on there, but it has to go through. The only thing that app will do is just display the books you've downloaded. I couldn't find a way of uploading a book into that.
Okay, right, sure.
You can take a screenshot of whatever's on the front of your screen, and then it will display on the back. But you'd have to do that for every single page too, which is obviously pointless.
One thing I really liked was that when you take a picture on the ink screen turns into like a picture of an old-fashioned camera and says "say cheese," which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
But it's early days for this. Obviously, it's quite a radical idea. We saw it at CES and thought it was fantastic. And it's obviously not. The execution isn't quite there, but I think it's a really interesting idea.
It is a nice idea, and I've already been talking about the next generations that's going to be coming out next year.
Sure.
And those I'm really looking forward to because I do like the concept. I think there's a lot of promise in what you can do. And like I said, I just think having these constant notifications there always on, so you can always just glance at your phone and the information's there. You don't need to turn it on. You don't need to waste your battery. That is a brilliant idea. But technically, how they've done it, I don't think is brilliant.
I think the danger here for like the Yola phone and the Yota phone is that because they're sort of made by these smaller, scrappy kind of companies, is that if they do produce something that is really, really revolutionary and people are like, oh my goodness, this is so cool. I suspect it'd be very, very easy for Samsung to whip together an e-ink screen in the back of one of its phones or whatever the software features are that people love about the Yola phone, to kind of crank that out as well. Because
they copy each other all the time, don't they? Android and iOS and stuff like that.
Yeah, they do.
Stealing
but
the Android
Samsung Samsung is so massive and sprawling, and it's so set up to be doing this. Like, it must have been really difficult for Yota to make a smartphone basically from scratch when they're not already a smartphone company. They don't make chips and screens and things like that. They have to assemble it and try and keep it to a reasonable price and stuff. Whereas I think Samsung is much more in a position just to be like, well, I have something from warehouse A and put it on the stuff we're making in warehouse C,
sure.
Which is a simplification, obviously, but
I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
Yeah. So I just think it's difficult for breakthrough companies to make hardware, basically.
I think what Samsung does, they've got like one of those what are those gambling machines called where you just pull a thing and it
One-arm
spins?
bandit.
One-arm
fruit
bandit.
machine,
Fruit
yeah.
machine, yeah. And they've just got lots of wheels with a certain screen, a size, something else on it.
Yeah.
And they just pull a handle, and whatever comes up, the machine automatically makes, and the phone comes out, and they put it on sale.
It's
It
true.
automatically produces $1 million, and they're like, "Oh, but we actually already had this combination." Like, that's fine. Just call it the 2.
Yeah, call it the Mega S.
Well, so this is it. I mean, we wanted to talk about kind of like phones that have gimmicks to stand out from all the millions of Android phones that you can buy. But we have seen gimmicky phones before. I mean, speaking of Samsung, they made a phone that had a torch built in, right? The Galaxy Beam. Yeah.
That was a projector.
Oh, the projector. Sorry, that was what I was saying. Yeah.
I mean, that was cool though.
I imagine no one bought that.
Oh man, I can't imagine any. Yeah, sure.
I've never seen one. No networks picked it up.
I've never seen one in the wild,
No.
but it was fun to shine into your eyes, and that's what I did.
So this is what you've got to do. You've got to be
time.
careful. I mean, like other failed gimmicks, like 3D phones, for example, the LG.
The LG Optimus 3D.
I'm so
Is that
glad
right?
none of these have taken off. So
Oh,
glad.
that was terrible.
And the HTC Evo 3D, I think, as well.
Yes,
They did one.
that's right, man. Those phones were.
We've got some.
Dreadful.
The curved displays are becoming a bit of a thing, as Samsung has
Yeah.
the Galaxy
Round.
round.
Yeah.
Well, we were having
which
a go
is-
with that the other day, and
Yeah.
it's a much more gentle gimmick. It's a bit like this is basically just a normal phone. We've slightly changed something. See if you like it.
An evolution rather than
Yeah.
revolution.
I like the Galaxy Round actually. One of the things that I hadn't thought about with a curved screen that I think is better is it's way better for screen reflections, because you get the same amount of reflections obviously, but because when you're looking at the round, you can't make out, or it's not like a mirror like most smartphones are. You can't make out your own face and other objects.
Yeah.
It's just like
It's good scattering for light,
Yeah,
isn't
yeah,
it? It's not
the re-
directly coming back at you.
Exactly. So
Right.
the reflections are sort of like a little bit funhouse mirror, but basically you can't make anything out. I mean, the Starlight reflections, it's still hard to see in direct sunlight and stuff, but it's much less distracting if you can't make out individual objects behind you, basically, in the phone screen.
So it's a gimmick that's actually useful. That's good to know.
Yeah, and when you swipe through home screens, it's like your thumb is kind of going up and down a little half pipe. It's kind of fun.
And it fits in your pocket around. It kind of curves around your thigh nicely as well. I
yeah,
imagine.
it cups my thigh.
That's the thing, because LG has the G Flex, and
Yeah.
that flexes the other way. So
That's a banana flex.
it's a banana flex.
That one actually flexes as well, doesn't it? I mean, the round doesn't actually. It's curved, but it doesn't bend. Whereas
No, it's
the
not
flex
flexible,
actually,
yeah.
you can
Yeah.
flex it up to a certain amount.
A
which is
little
quite
bit.
interesting. Okay, and the final of the three kind of new gimmicky phones that we want to talk about is Oppo. Now this is it's still kind of in the conceptual phase, isn't it? This is it's kind of a. It's a handset which is potentially going to have a cyanogen mod on it.
Yeah.
Right. So, and cyanogen mod is it's an Android ROM, but they're talking about making it into an. I mean, this isn't actually a real thing yet, unlike the other two. So they're talking about having cyanogen mod become almost an Android rival, becoming splitting off from the operating system that spawned it to become
Oh,
another
my
operating system
goodness.
itself. Yeah.
See,
Crikey.
So there you go.
it's like the student rising up to destroy the master.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
exactly like that. And I mean, this as well. We're also seeing a few niche. We've been talking about niche operating systems for a little while. So there's Tizen, there's Firefox OS all coming along. Firefox OS is in phones now, although you can only really buy them in developing markets.
And then we've got some of the modular phones that we've had coming out. There was the Motorola and the
Phone blocks.
Phone blocks.
Yeah.
Loads of cool stuff. It's great because we've had the past few years when the only improvements in phones we've been seeing is, oh great, now it's got a 4.5-inch screen, now it's got a 5-inch screen, now it's got a 6-inch screen. They've all got 1080p displays, they've all got quad-core processors, and we don't need any more power. And so we've kind of got to this almost stagnation in development of these phones. So it's really interesting seeing, and not all of these things are going to work by
But
any
it's just
means,
fun,
nor are
isn't it?
they going to make the big names.
It's quite possible that none of them will work.
Yeah.
In fact.
But
Well, that's a bit of a warning from Megatime. We're counting down.
But it's
So
good
what-
to see this stuff actually.
Definitely.
happening.
Well, one sort of final point on the subject of innovation is that a similar thing happened with cameras a few years ago, where cameras had kind of reached the megapixel race had kind of petered out, and they kind of reached the same sort of element and same sort of thing. So we started seeing a rash of cameras that had sort of crazy ideas in.
Like GPS and
exactly, yeah. So GPS, Wi-Fi, lens swapping. There was a couple of three. There was a Fujifilm had a 3D camera. Waterproof cameras kind of became a bit of a big thing. There was even, again, cameras with projectors. Samsung made a range of cameras, had a little extra screen at the front, all this kind of thing. Touch screens came in, yeah. There was a lot of kind of innovation happen there, and some of it stuck around. So we've started to see Wi-Fi has become a proper thing in cameras now. It's actually quite useful. It kind of works. Yeah. Interchangeable lenses have become a really big thing, obviously, with Micro Four Thirds. That
Android-powered cameras, so you can use all your Android apps and things, which I love, by the way. Cool. I really want what I want is, so we've got the Samsung Galaxy NX, and that's their interchangeable lens Android-powered one. And Sony have just released the A7, which is a full-frame interchangeable lens compact, and I want a full-frame interchangeable lens compact powered by Android. That's what I want. So if you guys can just go out and just make that for me,
go to Warehouse A and put something together from Warehouse B, and then we'll fix that. Yeah, absolutely. We'll fix that for you. Well, that's I don't think that's very far off, to be honest.
I hope so.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there you go. So let us know what gimmicks you'd like to see in phones. Well, not gimmicks. What useful features would you like to see appear in new phones that help them to stand out from the Android crowd? Let us know which of the kind of current generation of gimmicks you think are really going to take off. We're going to stick around. Okay then. All right. That's speaking of which, let's go to the feedback.
Checking into places.
Being stalked by strangers.
All right, Matt Larkin emails in to say, "Hey tech peeps, thought I'd drop an old-fashioned email to you rather than use these newfangled Facebook thingies." Thinking of replacing my old Athlon 2100 XP-based PC, which I built in around 2002 and has served me well since. But my boys, I've got 4 of them, keep telling me that it's no good for gaming. FreeCell and Solitaire seem to work okay for me. I don't know what they're complaining about.
Got to stand up to them. I know there's 4 of you. They outnumber you 4-1, but you've got to stand up to them.
Yeah, but it's a gamble. Because what if they learn that they're more powerful?
When they're boys.
Yeah, when we work together. But at least they'd learn teamwork.
That's true.
Toppling their father. Anyway, Matt says, I was thinking of spending around £600 on a new PC, which would be good enough for gaming. They're into Minecraft, of course, plus things like Star Wars Battlefront and the Dirt series. But perhaps Santa could get some more up-to-date games for them if he knew I was buying a PC too. So the question is, would the Alienware X51 basic model, which has an i3 processor, the GTX 645 GPU, 6 gig of RAM and a terabyte hard drive fit my needs, or is that graphics card in the entry model too low spec? Also, should I go with Windows 8 or Windows 7?
Oh, that's a big question.
So for the games you was talking about, sort of the Lego ones and Minecraft, that would be absolutely plenty because they're not particularly demanding. If you are talking about, like say, getting some more up-to-date games and getting some brand new titles, then that might struggle a little bit if you're playing on sort of like a full HD monitor, which you say you're not, but it might be if you are hoping to be a bit more of an intense gamer, just getting a slightly.
And I mean, I think Matt's instincts, you're right. 6 gig of RAM, I think, is plenty, and obviously a terabyte hard drive. The i3 processor jumps out at me in that mess as one of the things that might be under strain with more advanced gaming.
But I think that's an okay graphics card, which I think is going to be doing the grunt of the work. Right. For the gaming side. But I think it's absolutely worth in just future-proofing yourself. Right now, you may only want to play these games, but once you've got this computer and you've got a Steam account and you're looking at buying the new Battlefield 4 or the new whatever, or Skyrim, something, you might want something a bit better that's going to help you.
Yeah. That's true. I mean, especially as Matt's last PC has obviously been around since 2002. If this is going to be around until 2020,
yeah.
God, that's a horrible thought.
It's always worth spending a bit more now, and it will last you longer.
No, fair enough. Also, what about Windows 8, Windows 7? Can you even buy Windows 7 on
if you buy a new computer now, it'll come with Windows 8 on it.
Yeah, and I don't believe there's any significant difference gaming-wise between 7 and 8. Like in terms of
that decision will be made for you, unless you want to then go and downgrade.
Yeah. Okay. Matt also says cranberry sauce or bread sauce. Bread sauce.
Cranberry.
Whoa! Ooh. I thought it was going to be so simple, but now we have to stop and talk about this. Okay, no, we don't.
Fair enough. Well, thank you very much, Matt.
Yes, thank you, Matt, for the email. Okay, right. Liam says, lads, it's time for me to treat myself to some new tech. I remember that around this time last year, the Kindle was your best gadget at this price. So for Christmas, is it the same advice or does something else stand out? Great show.
So Liam's
thank you, Liam.
Thank you, yeah, that's very kind. Liam's talking about £100 devices.
£100 devices. For me, I bang on about this every week, but I still love the Kindle. I still think it's the best cheap gadget you can get. But there's a phone that you might want to treat yourself to.
There's a
isn't
new
there?
contender, isn't there?
Motorola Moto G.
How much does that cost?
That's £130, but it's far outstripping phones 3 times its price, really. That's if you need a phone. If you don't need a phone, Motorola Moto G probably isn't the thing for you.
Well, I mean, even if you don't need a phone, maybe
you don't need a phone.
Reasonably priced backup.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know, there's a good thing. There's loads of cool things. If there's particular things you want, then let us know and we'll have a look around.
If there's things that you want, probably just buy them. I think that's
about
our
those
advice, our considered advice.
Cool. Adrian Puici says, "Hello, Games Master. I'm stuck on level 3 in Sonic. Can you help?" Sent from my ZX81. No, level 3 in Sonic can't be completed.
Yeah, there's a bug. You can't do it.
Yeah, and the bug is Sonic himself. Tim Harris says, "All right, pod people, I've currently got an iPhone 4S on Orange and pay roughly £36 a month, and my 2-year contract is just up." That's good, because that's a lot of money to be paying a month for the iPhone 4S. "And I'm ignoring the constant stream of calls from Orange trying to upgrade me. Well done, Tim. I don't want to upgrade to a new iPhone. I don't use many minutes or data. Any advice or best way to save some cash?"
Cancel your contract immediately. Keep the phone and just get a SIM-free contract from 3 for like 12 quid a month.
Or gift gaff.
Or gift gaff, and do that because the phone's yours.
Yeah.
If you don't want a new iPhone, that's up to you.
Yeah, if you've already got the
Just get a
phone,
SIM-free.
then you don't need to worry about it.
And if the phrasing's a bit weird, there, I don't want to upgrade to a new iPhone. So if you don't want to change phone at all, then just move to.
Oh no, Megatimer says it's time to.
Says that's time to stop. Then obviously don't change phone, go for a SIM-only contract. But if you
Get yourself a Moto G, 130
Moto
quid.
G,
Get yourself a
brilliant.
cheap
the
SIM.
Nexus 5, there are such good cheap Android phones out there.
Exactly.
Cool.
Cool. All right, should we do another couple of quick questions then? Go on.
Okay. All right. Just
Go on
quickly.
then. A special bonus edition.
All right. Matthew Dawson-Jones says, "You know when you get one of those massive Christmas tubes of Maltesers and you open up the end and tip it all over the table,
Yep.
and 3 or 4 paltry mini bags of Maltesers fall out rather than the spectacular chocogasm fountain of light, airy honeycomb goodness balls that should pour forth accordingly? Someone should do something about that."
Someone should do
completely
something
agree.
about that. Also, someone should do something about the size of just the amount of air in there. It's just
I know. You're paying for that air.
yeah.
And there's free air outside the bag.
It feels, you hold the bag and it feels like there's
Yeah.
loads there, and then you open it up and it goes. Pfft.
Yeah, I know. Just eat some dense chocolate and breathe in while you're eating it. Like,
Also, the only true way to eat Maltesers is to buy one of the boxes and then fold the lid open and then just like put your fist in,
Yeah.
and then you get plenty. Although they're still a bit rattly because there's not many.
Yeah.
Although
And-
at least those, Poundland always seems to have those boxes of Maltesers. Always.
when
So
there's
you
one
can
or two left, you can be like, "Oh, does anyone else want?" No, okay, fine. Nom, 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 nom.
Other pound stores are available.
Yeah. Lee Avery says, "Best 10-inch iPad alternative." I think probably the Nexus 10 still? Is that still the case? No?
Yeah.
Andy's making a face.
Maybe, yeah, it's okay, but it's I still think it's probably a bit more expensive for what it is. But there is hopefully a new Nexus 10 due soon, and also I've got the Samsung Galaxy Note 10.1 2014 edition on my desk right now, and our US guys said that was actually a really good tablet. So it's a bit pricey, but so is the iPad Air.
Awesome.
What about Windows 8? Any recommendations on the 10-inch Windows 8 tablets?
For full fat Windows 8? Well, I've actually just got the new Nokia, the 2520. That's Windows RT. Looks quite nice, but it is Windows RT. So stay tuned on that. It looks good. It's red.
Okay,
Plastic.
maybe that
It
answers.
is red. I've seen it.
Very
It's
red.
He's not lying.
That does answer kind of Brian McKenzie's question as well, who was dismayed at our answer last week when we said just get an Nexus 10 when he asked about Windows tablets. But
Sorry, were you dismayed, anyone? Do we have time for one more?
Yeah, go on.
Because Stuart Jones says, "Would you buy a Nexus 5/Note 3 now, or wait and see what's out, if anything, in the new year?" So we obviously don't know what's going to happen. There could be a surprise, but there probably aren't going to be any new phones for a few months now. Not the big ones anyway, because they happen on an annual basis. So at the end of February will probably be when we see the next brace of new phones, and that's at a trade show in Barcelona. But they won't be coming out until like the beginning of the summer.
Exactly.
The new iPhone will probably be next autumn. The next Note will probably be next autumn as well, and so will the Nexus 6.
One thing to possibly note about the Note is that possibly in February we may be seeing. There's been some rumours about a light version of the Note. So if you are interested in the Note 3 but you think it's a bit expensive, then you maybe look out in February for a sort of a mini kind of version.
There are also some rumours. I don't know how much faith to put in these, that the Samsung Galaxy S5 will come out surprisingly early, as in at the beginning of next year, like in January. Oh, that's another thing. We'll probably see a new Sony Xperia phone in January, because that's typically when we do. So if Sony phones are your bag, then maybe hold off. Maybe hold off for a few more weeks.
I don't think hold off at all.
If you're considering buying a Nexus 5, you can't really go wrong with that.
Exactly. Nothing's going to come out that makes you go, oh, why did I spend so much money on this Nexus 5?
If you wait now, then all that'll happen is something will be announced, and then you'll want that, and it'll take months to come out. Then by the time it does come out, you'll think, shall I wait again? And the whole awful cycle will continue.
The whole awful cycle, that is our professional careers.
There is always a reason to wait.
Just treat yourself.
For it.
Treat yourself. Go for it. Okay, cool. Keep the feedback coming.
Yeah, keep the feedback coming at facebook.com/CNETUKofficial. Tweet us at CNETUK, or let us know what you think of this whole awful cycle over email at podcast@cnet.co.uk.
That's right. And if you want all the news, reviews, and videos on your smartphone or tablet, just go to the Apple App Store or Google Play and search for CNET Global to get the CNET app. All right, then. What about videos this week? Any exciting videos?
Video this week. You need to check out the latest episode of Adventures in Tech, where we ask...
Very exciting.
Well, we don't ask anything. In fact, we tell why the iPhone 4 is the greatest iPhone ever.
Yeah, not the greatest phone.
Not the greatest phone. iPhone. No, the greatest iPhone ever. This is the best iPhone that Apple's ever made. And if you don't believe me, then I insist you watch the video first, and at the end you'll be like, oh, hang on. It's true. Seek that out. I don't know, maybe you're looking at it now.
That handsome gentleman makes compelling arguments.
I do make compelling arguments. I'm not so handsome.
Absolutely. Yeah. Good. So if you like it, leave us a comment or a thumbs up on YouTube, down there if you're watching on YouTube. And also tweet it, Facebook it, or share it on Google Plus if you think anyone's going to see it. Finally, what is Automatone reviewing this week?
This week, Automatone is delighted to be reviewing...
he said to me, if I may interrupt,
please do.
the LG G-Pad 8.3.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
I
Yes.
think that's funny.
So, Automatone, what do you have to say on that subject?
Well, I think he's made his feelings very, very clear on that particular subject. So, good. Thank you very much, Automatone.
It's almost like he's not read my review of the LG G-Pad 8.3.
Well, yeah.
It's interesting how two people can have such really opposite takes on something, but there you go. Anyway, well, thank you very much, Andy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Luke.
Thanks.
Thanks to our producer, Mark. Right, we're off to the US to run up a massive phone bill. Bye.